I am overjoyed that you are here. Hey, today is a unique day. It's tax day in the U.S. Boo. And I just realized that this show now has over 5,000 downloads. I just found out, so that's pretty cool. I'm Eric Girard, and I'm the CEO of Girard Training Solutions, a management development firm that focuses on helping new managers transform from high-performing individual contributors to great people managers. I also have an Amazon #1 best-selling book called Lead Like a Pro, The Essential Guide for New Managers, and you can find that wherever books are sold as long as it's Amazon. Today, I am delighted to have Tammy Alvarez with me. Tammy, welcome to the show. Who are you and what do you do?
Thanks, Eric, and congratulations on the #1 bestseller and all the downloads and all the wonderful things. There is a need for who you serve, that is for sure. So it's good to see that no good deed goes unpunished in terms of all the work that you've been doing. I'm Tammy Alvarez. I am the I'm the founder and CEO of the Career Winners Circle, where we empower business leaders to make a big impact and love every Monday again. So we really focus on helping people navigate a career, step into leadership roles, run businesses in a way that energizes them and lights them up, and to where they get back and just really love getting started on Mondays.
That is amazing. And we're going to talk about how you picked the title of the book. So that is coming for sure. So let's start with a brief description of the book. Just run us through it.
Sure. And the book is really designed to help anyone who has lost their ambition. I remember I was in Chicago a few months ago, and I was facilitating a 3-day strategy session. I got there early the first day. So I grabbed a cup of coffee and I sat in the lobby. And the lobby was full of, a bunch of the building had a bunch of different companies in it. And I remember looking. Now, I live in Mexico City, right? So I don't do the slog anymore. But I remember sitting there drinking my coffee and watching people walk in. And Eric, it looked like the zombie apocalypse had invaded Chicago. I was like, what is going on here? Like, no one was smiling. Everyone was shuffling. No one was making eye contact. And I was like, what is happening? And that is why I wrote the book. It's really designed. So the book is called Escaping the Career Trap. Transform your apathy into ambition and never hate Mondays again. And so many high potential people who are skilled are sidelined because their careers have not taken the path that they expected, and they don't have the insider scoop on how to start to break away from that. Now, I spent 25 years as an executive on Wall Street, and I've been in the boardroom. I've been behind closed doors. I know how the stupidity happens. And so in the book is really designed to help people who really want to do more and feel stuck in that soul-crushing grind, really give them the tools, the strategies, and the approaches to start to do something different and start to show up bigger and get back to making that impact that we all want to make. Amazing,
amazing. And I'm thinking back to my career. I started my professional career in downtown San Francisco, and on Montgomery Street, the West Coast Wall Street. Yeah. And I would drive to the BART station, and I would take BART, and then I would wander through Montgomery Station, and weave my way through that, and finally make it into my building. So I've already been through an arduous commute. It's already been kind of soul crushing getting to the city from just to get there from the East Bay. But then I would walk into the building, and the first thing that would greet me would be this big, bored, uninspiring doorman who knew who I was and would always say, "May I help you?" It's like, you know who I am, Dean. Say hello, Eric. Come on.
Just say hi.
That was all before I got into the office, and then the office was right. its whole thing as well. So it was that, and then Silicon Valley is renowned for its traffic, and it's just
yes,
it's a complete
right?
mess.
And so we feel like we fought a battle before we even get to start our day. To your point, but I think with all the changes that we've seen over the past 5 years, people's perspectives have changed. And how they view success has changed, how businesses operate, and the promises they make and break, continue to be headline news. And so many people feel like they don't have control. that they don't have that ability to call the shots, especially now with all the layoffs and, all of, the economy and the election and the geopolitical, like all of these things are making us kind of tuck in, hide under our desk and hope we don't get fired. And the reality is, in times of chaos, there's always opportunity. And the book really helps you see, where do you fit in this picture? And more importantly, what actions should you be taking to really have that better outcome for yourself? And that's really the fun part, is seeing those aha moments when I'm getting feedback from my readers saying, this really resonated with me. I can start doing this tomorrow. So it's not this big Herculean thing that you've got to do that takes training and, willpower. It's like, oh, I made a left instead of a right. I would stop getting crushed every time. And it's, chapters and chapters and chapters of that insight that I think really help people move forward faster.
Yeah, small incremental change. That's the way.
Big stuff is hard. Who's got the energy for it, right?
Yeah, and that's the way I approach my book as well, with just, small steps. Take some small steps. You don't have to come out with a big S on your chest right away.
That's right. Yeah, doing and taking consistently, you'll move so much further.
Right on. Well, let's dive deeper into who especially is escaping the career trap written for.
Yeah, so this book applies to everybody who hates Mondays, full stop. But it was really written for that mid to senior level leader, or first time managers as well, who feel like they're stuck in this soul crushing grind. They've had points in their career where they've had success, and now that's gone, and they don't know where it is. They don't know where it went. And it's what I call the mid-career funk. Most of us, myself included when I was in corporate, have what I refer to as an accidental career. We don't actually think a lot about what we do. We get started, we do the best we can, and then we have opportunities come our way. And we either choose to take them or not. And then our career just kind of automatically evolves, unless we have something big and life-changing like being let go or something like that. And so eventually you start to look around and you're like, how did I get here? Reminds me of that song, right? This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife, right? But we look around, we're like, okay, I know I don't like this, but I have no idea what I want to do. I've lost all touch with that fight. When we all started our careers, we had so much ambition. We were going to take on the world and we could do all these things. And slowly but surely that ambition just gets beaten out of us, one day at a time. And it's really written for those people who still have something to contribute, who still have that fire in their belly somewhere. They just need to figure out, how do I find it? And then how do I use that to really translate and transform my career back into something that's thriving, that's serving me, that I'm energized about, without having to take a step back and lose everything that you've worked so hard for. And so that's really who that ideal audience for me is.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, that makes perfect sense. Picking up.
There's a few of them out there that might qualify, right, in that category.
Let me pick up on a thread that you started to tug on. I'm going to pull on it harder. The idea of never hating Mondays again is a very strong thread throughout your book. Tell me why that concept is so important.
I didn't realize how important it was until I started actually loving Mondays. And it was interesting. I always loved my job, right? And in my corporate days, I made a lot of changes. I moved 5 different industries, 11 role changes, everything from sales to audit and everything in between. And I always had that mindset that if I didn't like it, if I didn't find joy or purpose in what I was doing, that I would change. And I was never afraid to do that. And so throughout my career, I always liked what I did. But when I finally left corporate and started my own business, I realized what it felt like to truly love Mondays, to truly step into something that gave me so much energy, so much joy, so much purpose, that it elevated my entire life. And many of my clients and the people that I talk to and people that I've worked with throughout the decades, dating myself here, but that's not a secret. And so I think they believe genuinely that loving Mondays is a pipe dream. It doesn't really happen. No one actually really loves what they do. It's why they call work, work, and fun, fun. All these things that we've heard. And so we've already quit before we even try. Yet the knock-on impact of really, the worst thing I say is apathy. If you hate your job or love your job, at least you feel something. But according to Gartner, or to Gallup and their research, 60% of workers are stuck in this apathetic zone where they really don't care about anything. And I think that's the worst place to be. And so the reason this Loving Mondays is so prevalent in the book is because it's not a pipe dream. I believe personally that it is as foundational as air you breathe and water you drink. It is, it helps sustain a vital and a well-balanced life. And I just think that the downsides are too severe and the upsides are too awesome not to just try, but make this a requirement and to no longer settle for second best or assume that is saved for the elite 10%. And when you start to say, no, I deserve this, and you start to take those actions that we talk about in the book to get there, so many things start to change and for the better.
Yeah, I can definitely see a difference in my own outlook between working in corporate and being self-employed and having my own gig. I mean, and I think a big part of it comes back to no commute, but then also being much more closely tied to the organization's purpose and vision. I was usually several layers removed from leadership.
Yeah.
And it's awfully nice to know, you know what, man, like this thing lives and breathes because of me and I'm setting direction and I like it. Like, this is nice. And I think to have that kind of point of view for, if you work in corporate would be awesome as well.
And as new leaders, right, which I know a lot of our listeners are first-time leaders, it's a confusing time, right? Because you go from individual contributor to leading. Most of the time, you're leading people who used to be your peers, which is super awkward. And it's almost like, and this happens at every step of leadership, so you need to get used to it as soon as you can because it's going to happen every time. But as soon as you get tapped for that promotion, you feel like you're expected to have all the answers. And it's like, okay, yesterday you weren't expected to do this, and today you were. And it happens to everyone. I mean, I coach new CEOs for big companies who are like, I'm no smarter than I was yesterday. But now all of a sudden I've got to be on CNBC and I've got to do all these things. And so, I think to find that joy and to really find, your sweet spot. We talk a lot in the book about playing to your strengths. And as a leader, you've done that to some extent or else you wouldn't be where you are. But now you've got to develop new skills instead of, being paid and skilled at what you do. Now you get to lead teams and get rewarded through their actions. And so how do you find the strengths that are people on your team? How do you balance your team? So everyone is in their, their zone of genius, if you will, doing the things that they love and least of the things that they're not good at and don't like. And so that's where the fun part comes in from a leadership perspective and trying to find that balance, both for yourself in terms of who do you want to show up as, but also in the team and how you structure that and how you start to help them get to their next step in their career as well.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know we're, mind melding on that stuff. That's for sure.
The writing style of Escaping the Career Trap is raw and exceedingly honest. Can you tell us about your methods?
Yes. I'm not a kittens and bunnies person. This is not the first time I've been a guest here, so you know this. And I think there's just so much political correctness in our world that no one actually says what they mean. And so it's really hard to kind of decipher through all this flowery language and esoteric conversations. And I'm also not a real writer. This is my first book. I have a lot of ideas. I'm a thought leadership. I'm an expert in career development and executive leadership, but I'm not an expert at being an author. And so to get all my ideas out, a lot of what I did is I made the book very conversational, as if you and I are sitting down over a glass of wine and just having a conversation about the various topics. Because I think that's much more approachable. It's less academic and much more, I see, and there's a few F-bombs in there. There's a few things that go on, but I also am not afraid to call a spade a spade. And so when something is broken and dysfunctional, I'm going to say it. And when people are doing things, what I believe is the wrong way to do things, then I'm going to say that too. And so a lot of the feedback I've gotten on the book was like, it felt like you were just sitting there talking to me. Because most of the time what I did was talk into a microphone and riffed on all the things that were in my head. And then tried to turn that into something that someone could read and then hand it to my editor who actually did all the hard work. And so, so the book really flows as if you're just hanging out with a friend who knows more than you do and who really cares enough to try and help you get where you want to go. but it's a bit edgy. The stories are fun because a lot of, there's stories in every chapter, several stories. So I think that helps people kind of bring the concepts home. But they're not just mine. Because I'm tired of talking about myself. I can't imagine how people would want to actually read all the things about me either. So I had about 35 contributors that shared their career journeys, the mistakes they made, the struggles they went through, and kind of how things felt on the other side, both good and bad, to really help bring some of that home as well. So it's a fun read in terms of the drama and intrigue that happens in some of these stories as well.
Drama and intrigue.
Drama and intrigue in a business book. Go figure.
Well, hey, that makes it a page turner, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long book, right? So it's not for the faint of heart. And so it better be interesting if it's going to be that long. And it's designed to really help people work through it. Like, I would love to see a book that has, highlighters and dog ears and notes in the margins and all of those things. Because at the end of each chapter, we have what I call brain candy. And what that's designed to do is take all the things and concepts that you've just read about and apply it to yourself. And that way it's not just, oh, that's interesting, let me go to the next chapter. It's like, no, stop right now and start to think about this and how it applies to you. And we call it the ABCs, right, of growth. And so you assess, you baseline, and then you conquer. So based on what we're talking about, let's assess where you are. Let's put a baseline, or assess where you want to be, baseline where you are, and then put that plan together, go kick some butt. And we do that, and it's very stair-steppy, right? So chapter 1 takes you to chapter 2 and so on. And that way, by the time you're done, you are absolutely able to just lean in and start making some of those changes that you want, even before you're done.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got one last question for you, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you and learn more about you. And that's the big one for me, which is, what can readers hope to learn from your book?
So they can learn 3 things, primarily. The most important thing that they're going to learn is how to become that CEO of their career. Because when you treat your career like a business and you promote yourself to becoming the CEO of You Inc., everything changes. And so all the things that we do today in terms of running our business, the good news is you're going to know how to do this because you're running businesses, you're leaders. And so strategy and vision and execution and, metrics and all these things you're doing, just turn it in on yourself and start to do it there too. So there's not a lot of learning. So the big thing you're going to come out is how to really step into that command and control role in terms of treating your career like a business and becoming the CEO. The second thing you're going to learn is really, we're going to talk about it again, like how to love Mondays. Right? And like why that's important, how to get through that. There are 5 lies that hold most people back from having a thriving career. We dig into that and then debunk those myths and talk about how to break those rules to be able to get there. And so once you really figure that out, and then the last thing is really talking about like how to take those incremental steps to become the leader people choose to follow, and then pave the way for others along the way, which is, I think, where when you hit that point in your career where you're no longer focused on your next promotion because you know that you've got this, but now you're more focused on helping others on your team be able to reach their potential. I think that's where you're like, okay, this was all worth it. All the hard work was worth it. So the book is going to take you on that journey and not just give you anecdotal things, but it's going to give you hardcore advice, behind the scenes perspectives on here's what really happens, and the tools and stories to be able to make that a reality for yourself.
I love it. Very action oriented. That's
yeah. Without action, we don't have anything, right? It's just pipe dream.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's change tack here a little bit and talk just about you. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about your availability for speaking engagements and where you might want to take that.
Absolutely. So before this book, and obviously as a part of this book, I deliver keynotes, seminars, and workshops for groups as large as 1,000 plus and as small as 10, depending on what the company actually needs. So if you're looking for someone who, looking for a speaker who is a bit direct, has a lot of experience in corporate and knows how things happen and really can bring an audience to think differently and be inspired and motivated, that is my jam. So let's talk and let's definitely do that. the other thing that we like to focus on is really helping. I do virtual and in person. So a lot of times we'll work with organizations that have these big virtual meetings where everybody's from all over the place, and I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah, those can be a lot of fun if you've got a good producer who's putting it all together.
And right, if you have good tech, right? I've had them where they've been just epic moments, and then I've had them, not kidding you, literally where everything fell apart, and my sponsor had me on her cell phone. I was delivering the keynote, and she was turning the pages on the PowerPoint deck because everything had just fallen apart. So it takes, I don't get feathered by anything. So we're just like, okay, we'll find a way forward on this. But yes, virtual events work great when the tech works great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Tammy, thank you so much. What a marvelous conversation. How can people find you if they want to learn more?
Okay, so to learn more, head to escapingthecareertrap.com. From there, you'll be able to access the book. You can buy a hard copy, signed copy with a bunch of really cool freebies from our website, from escapingthecareertrap.com. So head there first and then take a look at that. But you can also grab our softcover book and our ebook and our audiobook through Amazon, and the audiobook is also on Audible. So you can find us everywhere, but your best deal is going to be, through the website to get all the extras that come along with it as well. For coaching, because we do coach career strategy, leadership development, as well as business growth, you can head to our business site, which is careerwinnerscircle.com. And then you can, meet some of our amazing coaches that are on the team, and, they're here to serve whatever you need help with.
Delightful. Well, folks, thanks for listening. Please subscribe to this show and connect with me on LinkedIn. Be sure to pick up my book, Lead Like a Pro, The Essential Guide for New Managers, available on Amazon. And if you head to my website, GerardTrainingsolutions.com, the first 2 chapters are free. If you'd like to chat about how I can help you or your new managers, please drop me a line via my website. Tammy, thanks again. It was much fun having you. I wish you all success with your book and your speaking. Everybody, we will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eric. Bye.